Everybody, Steve, one of the panelists on the News from the Pew that if you know, you know, you watch, you know, I'm that guy. Anyways, I heard this on the way back from getting milk today. It takes me 30 minutes to and fro. It's an hour round trip, yes, if you're counting it up. Like, we get the real milk, not the pasteurized stuff. Anyways, I did not know Bill, who you see here right there with his name underneath there, is a Catholic. Tony Rioli. He's on. It's Around the Horn. His name of the show. He's a Catholic guy. Usually, you'll see him with ashes on his head during that time. But I did not know Bill was, and he wrote a piece. Plaschke, Dodgers Pride Night feels like a rainbow of love. Let's read some of that, please, because it's it's bad. Dodger Stadium has rarely looked more empty. Dodger Stadium has rarely felt more full. Now again, they did the they did the ceremony. Do they have it on here? Yeah. Remember, they had the ceremony an hour before the game started.
This 2023 marks 100 years of the fight for civil liberties by the ACLU of Southern California. ACLU SoCal celebrates its centennial by elevating courageous Southern Californians every world where people means all of us. Please welcome Hector Bianca, California. White Night Celebration.
So about 300 people were in the entire stadium. I think it probably holds about 40,000. It really felt more full. An hour before the Dodgers hosted the San Francisco Giants on Friday night, who, San Francisco, they're totally okay with the gay stuff as well. In the strangest of sights, there were no players in the dugout, no players on the field, and barely a couple hundred fans in the stands. Sister Unity and Sister Dominica did not mind. They stood in front of the third base line and embraced our Community Hero Award, which they've done nothing for, medals as they were accepting an Oscar. They waved to a handful of people waving back. They basked in the scattered cheers. They swept dramatically off the field, smiling with painted faces and swooshing with blue and black habits. And swooshing their blue and black habits. Outside the gates, several thousand, just can't read on to this, several thousand were protesting their existence. Sorry, Bill. Throughout the Catholic community, thousands more showered them with scolding prayers. Words matter. And calls for boycotts. They didn't listen. They didn't run. They didn't cave. The Dodgers, who caved once, didn't cave again because, remember, most of the front office is for gay stuff. Magic Johnson's for it. A couple other people on the board are for it. You got... you have to be more woke than the other people. So that's not caving anymore. In a 4-minute ceremony that was a culmination of 3 weeks of controversy, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence activist organization was finally honored as a highlight of the Dodgers' 10th annual LGBTQ plus RA1 Carry the P Pi Pride Night. You could have heard a pin drop. That's because there was nobody there. You could have seen hearts soar. Bill, wipe the drool from your mouth, please. The stands were more empty than filled, but the mood was warm and happy. Oh, that's so cute, said Sister Unity after the ceremony that was held earlier than most Dodgers pregame events. Should I get some chirping birds on here? People were happy. People were friendly. The sun was shining. The grass was green. And now we have baseball and hot dogs. It's LA at its best. That's so cute. The ceremony was held much earlier than the Dodgers normally hold their pregame events because of what the Dodgers claim were safety reasons. Well, if they didn't care, why didn't they just do it at a regular time, huh? There were extra police lining the stands. It didn't matter. There was probably more police than people. The sisters weren't going anywhere. There are a couple of thousand people protesting. There are over 1 million people in my community in LA County, said Sister Unity. That doesn't, this goes back to the idea of 99% of people think 2 + 2 = 5. That doesn't make it right. And whatever happens to me, I have to be there for them. This moment was given to us. It was a moral imperative for me to rise to that occasion on behalf of the people who believe in us. As you probably know by now, the previous Anonymous Sisters are a satirical performance and activist organization that uses humor, drag, and religious imagery to call attention to sexuality intolerance. So apparently, humping on the cross is supposed to be satire. They are particularly abhorred by Catholics because the sisters dress like nutty nuns and use skits to desecrate holy rituals and objects. So I guess he's okay with that. But their main purpose isn't the ridicule. No. That's not ridiculing. That's, by the way, here's a Sisters of Perpetual, the San Francisco Sisters. Join the sisters and SF Krampus as they pay homage to the sinister and scary side of Christmas. Yes, that's the Perpetual, right? The Sister of Perpetual, whatever, Indulgence group right there, promoting that. Because remember what he just said. They don't mean the ridicule, because that's not ridiculing. That's definitely not ridiculing. Either is this down here. We won't show it as a family episode. Let's see. In the 1980s, the sisters were a forefront of AIDS pandemic, providing comfort and care for countless dying men who many would not touch. And from what I understand, they haven't done anything since. Today, their mission is morphed into one of organizing and assisting in charitable events while spreading the message of inclusion, hope, and love. Unless you're against them, then the so-called tolerant are the most intolerant, of course. In one moment they might be holding candlelight vigil to support AIDS treatment. The next moment they might be stationed at a Pride Festival booth doling out blessings. That's cute again. What's one of the things that they said it did AIDS was that kind of lifestyle. I guess they don't care about that. As a lifelong Catholic, I am disturbed by some of the grotesque imagery. Well, isn't that big of you, Bill? Created by the sisters. But as a proud father of a daughter who is gay, I view this in the eyes of the great M.C. Plaschke and can clearly see that the sisters' good works far outweigh their blasphemy. My point on the blasphemy part. He says controversial performances. That's just another cute word to just say blasphemy. He put some Kool-Aid on it, watered it down, stirred it up, served it. Probably cherry Kool-Aid. Silly costumes cannot trump authentic caring. Again, that's if that's caring, it's sharing right there. Sexually vaudeville will never trump acts of mercy. Okay, whatever, Bill. After announcing the sisters will be honored, remember that line, Christ, didn't we do this? Didn't we do this? Didn't we do this? Didn't we do this? And he goes, I tell you, I never knew you. I think it's Matthew. Was it Matthew 7? I have to look that up again. I'm just spitballing off the top of my head. Wait a minute. Do. We did this. Wow, I said you never knew you. I never knew you. I said, hey, Bill, you might want to relook on that. See, the day after announcing the sisters will be honored, the Dodgers shamefully bowed to public pressure and disinvited them. Shamefully. But 5 days later, changed their minds to the mob and did the right thing. Right thing in his mind, according to Bill, the right thing. By bringing them back. Sisters bring too much light in this world to be condemned strictly as agents of darkness. Christmas. Let's see. I know I'm just using one photo. I'm not going to scan all of them. I'm sure it's worse. You guys seen the videos? Let's see. Yeah, let's see. But don't listen to me. Let's listen to a Catholic priest. And not Father Martin. He probably is on the board with them. Some people are judging for what's on their website, which is at times very disturbing and insulting to anyone who is seriously a religiously vowed person, said Father Chris Panett, spiritual director for the LA Archdiocese Catholic Ministry with lesbian and gay persons. And who exactly is this Father Chris Panett who Plaschke is all about? So here he says, let's listen to a Catholic priest. Here's Chris Panett. He's apparently, from what I understand, is openly telling homosexuals they can receive communion. He's a chaplain in LA, as we mentioned. Here's what Joseph Chiambra wrote about him back in 2018. he tells Catholic school teachers to affirm second and third graders in their LGBT identity. He's pretty much, from what I've gathered from looking at other sources, is very big in pushing this agenda. So Plaschke goes with someone that's definitely on his side. No wonders. Panett said if strident Catholics aren't careful, the alleged hate they are protesting can actually be coming from them. Right? So here's what we got. That's his source. That's his go-to. Is you find a bad priest and you just run with it because he tickles your ear. On the other side, they have also been historically a group that has worked with the sick and dying, beginning with the HIV and AIDS pandemic. I go back to Dr. Thomas Wood's video on charity, and he always talks about the haters. They admit that the Catholics are number one in that, and no one's a number two. I would wonder how far back if the sisters are getting such a big shindig and everyone's propping them up and all this other stuff. Hey, when's the Catholic Day? Because I guarantee the Catholics have outdone them probably about a factor of 1,000,000 to 1. And sick and dying, come on. Nobody's done more. And the haters admit that, except these haters, because they don't care about that part. Panett said that if strident Catholics aren't careful, the alleged hate they are protesting will actually be coming from them. Look at these hateful people right here. I'm glad they got a screenshot of hateful people smiling, and no smiling. You heard in a couple interviews I played on the last video. The local news got a lady on talking about they're praying for them. Yeah, haters. Part of our church position is not to bully, not to demonize, not to hate. And they've demonized and bullied, he said. Actually, when charity is willing the good of the other. And who's getting bullied and demonized? It looks like the Catholics are getting bullied and demonized. Panett said there is room for the compromise. Someone wanted to talk to this priest. Said there is room to compromise, and he hopes Friday night can be a start of that conversation. I hope the present Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence will look at some of the images on the website, and hopefully they understand that this hurts people, said Panett. Let's see, understatement of the year. Equally, I hope that the other sides at least honor their pain and frustration at a church that clearly has not been perfect and has been hurtful. I just want to smash my head against that wall over there. In all, it was a compelling start to Pride Night, which featured an odd mixture of empowerment and caution. There were rainbows on the video board and all over the outfield advertisements, yet the stands along the foul lines were filled with a different color, the yellow coats of extra security guards. The words of manager Dave Roberts contained messages of unity and peace, but they were occasionally drowned out by several police helicopters. I mentioned that. I had this on a couple clips the other day. My parents raised me to love everyone, to respect everyone, to treat people the way you want to be treated. Hey, what about the sisters? Are they not allowed to do that for us? Just call me crazy. Roberts said, later adding, our culture is now in a place where we're not coexisting, and that's unfortunate. Anyone who wants to come here and support the Dodgers, we're all in. You know how many people of the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence support the Dodgers? Probably none of them. And as Kurt Schilling brought up, how many Catholics are season ticket holders of the LA Dodgers, and you're alienated them? They support the Dodgers, and you just pretty much, kiss off. We're bringing these guys in to mock you. That mock you openly, and then we're gonna, pretty much gaslight you and say that these guys are the greatest people in history of the world. The fans who came for Pride Night also seemed all in, overcoming their initial distaste over the Dodgers' disinvitation to support them for making the right decision. There's again, second time for him. Quote, I think it's really important to have these kinds of nights because it does show that baseball isn't just heteronormative, that the community will come and support a team who supports them, said Victoria Wienert, 35, a San Diego Padre fan who came for the Pride. And I think that's really important that they're having these nights and that they're honoring the people who do so much to support and uplift our community. So far, Bill has yet to give an explanation of what they do for the community outside of 1980. Dylan Reinhardt, 28, said, attending this game was like being home. Quote, I'm feeling very welcome, he said. I'm glad that they're doing nights like these and celebrating people and having an open community for people to just be themselves, who they are. I've been to many, many, many baseball games. What is he talking about? There's nobody at the front. There's no SS police at the front. There's nobody saying, let me see your paper. Well, now they are with the jab, but some places. But no one asked, hey, who are you sleeping with? Can you not come in or anything like? None of that happened. What is Dylan talking about? And Bill knows this. That's what makes this even worse. Bill knows that's stupid. There are still miles to go before there's true understanding between this largely conservative sport and the diverse communities that support it. Earlier this week, quite unbelievably, Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred told reporters that he didn't support the backbone of Pride Nights, the rainbow logos that appear on team gear, because he's not a moron. Quote, we have told teams in terms of actual uniforms, hats, bats, and we don't think putting logos on them is a good idea because of the desire to protect players, not putting them in a position of doing something that may make them uncomfortable because of their personal views. Like the Tampa Bay Devil Rays pitchers last year, 5 of them, they all got, creamed for speaking out. And, hey, Texas Rangers, by the way, let's finish this up. Manfred told reporters, according to the Washington Post, Chelsea Janes, the Dodgers and Giants didn't listen. Rainbows on their heads, rainbows everywhere. Sister Unity was right. LA at its best. So LA at its best means LA queer. That's pretty much what Plaschke's saying. And Texas Rangers, there's apparently, because Texas is the only team not to do Pride Night. And there's some scrutiny for this. Where's it at here? Quote, the silence is deafening. One former longtime employee told The Atlantic of the Rangers, the fact of the matter is it's free marketing opportunity. It doesn't cost them anything personally, and they can boost revenue by looking inclusive. No, they won't. The fact that there hasn't been one for Texas is the biggest actions speak louder than words than I've ever seen. I'm becoming more of a Rangers fan because of this. The former employee added that it was a bare minimal thing. Quote, the fact that there is so much resistance is a huge part of contention, not just for gay folks, but for everyone, the former employee said. It was always something that bothered me greatly about the organization. They do a lot of things well, where they have all these other nights for different fans and cultures. The fact they omit one group very clearly is just ridiculous. Imagine being a group that you have to have your sexual preference on the billboard, on the tickets, on the screen, on the everything coming in. What you do in the bedroom has to be celebrated at a baseball game. What mindset? What reality do you think that makes any sense? One current Rangers employee who is gay told Kathy, has anybody ever hired somebody and go, excuse me, sir, before we give you this salary, are you gay? Yes, sign here. No one does that. Who is gay told The Atlantic they believe the stars at the top of the organization with team owner Ray Davis. Well, you got to get rid of him, right? Quote, when you have someone so opposed at the top, well, the tolerance is so that the so-called tolerants are the most tolerant, No, the so-called tolerant are the most intolerant because, he's not being tolerant, so we cannot be tolerant for his tolerance. We have to be intolerant of his intolerance. When you have someone so opposed at the top, it creates a spillover effect that even though most of the organization, I think, wants it to happen, or at least isn't vehemently opposed to it, it's just a dark cloud that's signifying it's okay to treat this group of people like, what? I don't know anybody that treats anybody like that. The Rangers were in the spotlight over the weekend for not having Pride Night, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, maybe they just didn't want to be like the rest of the bad teams out there. And LA is pretty much has been 0-3 since this series. They had the worst loss in 125 years, and they might get everything back together coming to Kansas City, because Kansas City Royals had a drag show, so they both need to lose. They both are terrible, but one team sadly has to win that game. What was I going to say with that? Here's a Outkick. Let's see. Today, their mission has morphed into one of organizing and assisting in charitable events while spreading a message of inclusion, hope, and love. As this is the author, as someone who recently researched this LA group, this is where I have to step in and say that Bill mailed it in and didn't do any research on this group. Zero. The LA unit, San Francisco was around in the 1980s, but the Dodgers weren't honoring that San Francisco group. It was founded in 1995. So the LA group that was the LA unit was founded in 1995. Bill was talking about them helping out in the 1980s. He goes, did you even look at their Instagram page where they proudly say they were founded in 1995? Here's the LA Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, established 1995. Sloppy work, Bill. He also failed to mention that this group rarely updates social media to mention what they're doing for the community besides making fun of Catholicism and openly wishing for its downfall. He failed to mention that before the whole Community Heroes Pride Awards controversy, the last times the sisters mentioned anything about serving the community came when they promoted a beer bust that was founded for a vegan farm. Said Bill, you left out the good parts. He also forgot the Feast of Ass in January. And Bill didn't bother going back to his employees' archives to do a deep dive on the group. If he had, Bill would have noticed that his employer's online archive doesn't include a single story on the group before the Pride Night controversy. He's like, go here, Bill, take a look. And the link goes to the LA Times. That's who he works for. There's nothing here on it. Catholic, Nick and Aaron Carter, nothing. One moment they'd be holding a candlelight vigil to support AIDS treatment. The next moment they might be stationed at Pride Festival doling out blessings. Take Bill's word for it. He thinks the LA group was doing great work in the 1980s when they didn't even exist. Let's see. He thought he brings up the ceremony was much that paragraph with the police lining the stands. He goes, or hear me out. The Dodgers brass honored these weirdos before an empty stadium, so nobody would be there to see them honor the weirdo nuns, and they could get this nonsense over with as fast as possible. And he goes, not a plausible scenario? Well, yeah, could be. At the end of the day, Bill keeps his job at Around the Horn. He stays safe with the LA Times echo chamber and his own home. Quote, as a lifelong Catholic, you see that part. Bill, you're not fooling us. You couldn't pinpoint exactly one good work that the LA Sisters have accomplished as a result of your glowing column and that Community Heroes Award. Good job trying to hoodwink your readers. Hopefully they're not as dumb as you must think they are. And he goes, Plaschke supports this. And that's one of the, you see what's going on down there. Crying shame. Again. Woke Bill Plaschke ate it up spoon-fed. Bill even went back for seconds. It is quite surprising, Bill. It's actually quite surprising, Bill, who says he's a Catholic, didn't let the sisters choke him out with their ball gag. And Rich said Bill Plaschke wants to keep his spot on ESPN's Around the Horn, where the LA Times communists has appeared for approximately the last 2 decades. He shares one of the 4 guest spots with the likes of woke champion Shara Spain. She's terrible. Mina Kimes, never heard of her. Ellie Duncan and Clinton Yates. He has to stay in line. So basically, he sold off the Catholic faith. As they said, here's Catholic ESPN panelist Bill Plaschke bends over backwards to support banana hammock wearing weirdo drag nun community heroes. Basically sold out the faith. Then what is the profit of man? They gain the whole world and lose his soul. Well, unfortunately, Bill might find out. Pray for Bill. Maybe he can get a spine and somebody out there, work on evangelizing him. God love you.